Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to call the regular monthly board meeting of the Breede Springs Fire Control and Rescue District, Monday, October 8th, 2018, to order. Please rise for Chaplain Chitwood.
We want to take a few moments of silence in memory of 4 firemen that have lost their lives this past month. Then we'll pray. Dear God, we come tonight and we give honor to those firefighters who across this nation have lost their lives in service to others. We pray that you will be with their families and that you will strengthen them, give them comfort and peace during this time of loss. Lord, we ask for protection for our firefighters here in Bonita, that you will watch over them and keep them safe as they go about and serve others. Lord, we thank you for the freedom we have here in this nation and for our ability to meet and gather this evening. Pray for wisdom and guidance in all things. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have any public comment on agenda items this evening? Seeing none. Need approval of the September 10th, 2018 regular meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Also a motion for the September 10th, 2018 tentative millage and tentative budget hearing minutes.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And September 24th, 2018 final millage and final budget hearing minutes.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need one motion for the approval of the September 2018 and current expenditures and ACH payments, the acknowledgement of financial report, and the acknowledgement of wire transfers and transfers between accounts.
So moved.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion?
Discussion?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just have a couple of simple questions. On page 2 of the budget, item 36101-001, there's an item interest, budgeted $25,000 and actual $230,000. Just under the exception principle, how could we go from $25,000 to $230,000?
We switched banks to Bank United, and they pay a higher interest rate than what BB&T was paying us.
$200,000?
Yes.
Which is why I hollered for a long time.
That's why we want to change.
What bank are we not with now?
Yeah,
We're with Bank United.
yeah. Okay. Should have been with them forever. Okay, on the same page, 36901-004, item called enhancement, we budgeted $50,000 and we spent $117,000, 230% more than our budget. Could you enlighten me what enhancement means?
Yes, sir. That is the radio enhancement fund in which we accept money from businesses in order to offset our costs to provide repeaters for our trucks. So that's where we receive that money. It's not ad valorem money. It's business money.
We expected $51,000, we got $117,000. You say it comes from business?
Yes, which the district has the authority to either, when a business opens up, they can either use an interior communication system, which costs them money, or they can provide us with an enhancement fund, which allows for us to create, to buy repeaters, which will penetrate the buildings without their necessary capital outlay.
Okay. I have one more little item. On page 1 of the budget, under money wired to district accounts, we list again the Lee County EMS facility rental. That was a discussion last meeting. Will that come up again today?
No, sir, it will not. We have not heard back from the county as of yet.
Okay, okay. That was all I had.
Just for the record, we did the discussion, and we had already voted, and if we just confirm the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, presentations, Chief.
Yes, good evening, everyone. We have a couple presentations this evening. First, the year of service acknowledgement for 1 year of service. As many know, this is a landmark for all of our employees who have been hired here, because it is the time where they get off probation and get on and become a permanent employee of the district. I know, which all of us have been through the probationary period. It's a time of stress where you want to make sure you leave a good impression on your officers and the people you work with. So I'm happy to say that these people who are receiving their 1 year PIN are now permanent employees of the district. So please join me up front when you do have when you can, if you're here. I apologize for not being able to turn my neck. Mr. Jordan Green, firefighter Sean Linen, Curtis Meir, Robert Millhouse, Jamie Miner, Jordan Sauerwald, Enrique Sheffer, April Stefferari, Sarah Steffens, Desiree Stolte, Frank Todd, and Kyle Waltemeyer. And just as a note, the officers you see in the back of the room are here to support these firefighters as a show of their support for them. So thank you, and congratulations. Why don't you guys sit up and stand up here?
Congratulations, welcome.
Congratulations, buddy.
Next is Mr. Joshua Merchant. If you'd please come up front. Mr. Merchant was actually hired with the other group here. However, he's in the military, so he got deployed for, was it 6 months, Mr. Merchant? About 6 months with the Air Force. So he just came back and started his recruit training with Captain Wilson, both the captains, and he's just completed that, correct? And now he's going to get his pinning.
Awesome.
His parents are here, so we'd be obliged if you would come up and assist with the pinning, please.
Blood. Blood.
I'd like to thank you for your service as well in the Air Force. Thank you.
Okay, moving ahead. It only gets brighter. This is something new we're doing, and it's called the Stork Award. We've been delivering babies, so we never had a method to recognize that. We save lives in cardiac arrest, and we recognize through the Phoenix Award. However, this is something that Nicole Hornberger started amongst the rest of the staff and decided it was a good idea to give a Stork Award. So the bars that we have are actually green, which represent life. So I'm going to read a little piece here to describe in some method of what happened on this day. Lieutenant Paramedic Michael Butcher, Firefighter Paramedic Mike Koshlap, and Firefighter Paramedic Colin Boston received the call for help just after 5:30 in the morning. The crew was told that this was a mother's first pregnancy. Years of experience told Lieutenant Butcher that this was probably the probability was low, that this baby would be delivered at home, especially to a first-time mother. Lieutenant Butcher assumed that they were going to load and go, thinking the mother would have hours of active labor before the baby was ready, as typical of a first-time deliveries go, and they would be able to get the mother to the hospital. However, that was not the case. Upon arrival, the crew was met by family members who hastily told Lieutenant Butcher that Caitlin would be crowning in the bathroom floor of their home. The crew could see quickly that her family was right. Caitlin was going to have her firstborn son right now on the floor of her bathroom. The crew of firefighters rushed to prep the necessary pediatric and OB medical supplies to be ready for any delivery complications and immediate medical interventions for the young mother and infant. Caitlin and her baby were in a potentially dangerous situation. After approximately 20 minutes of pushing, baby Cody James was born. The proud new dad was able to cut the cord, and our brave but exhausted new mom was able to snuggle and spend a few sweet moments with the baby Cody before they were loaded into the ambulance to bring them both to the hospital for follow-up medical attention. The crew of Engine 23 was amazed and relieved at the successful delivery of the newborn baby. Lieutenant Butcher was happy to report that delivery went better than he could have expected. He said this was the first time he was the catcher, but he had only been on plenty of other emergencies involving baby deliveries previously. His and the other two firefighters on the crew had formal pediatric and birth training while in EMT and paramedic school, but Lieutenant Butcher stated that this delivery was a textbook delivery. So, congratulations on the first award that we've had with regards to our Stork Award. And the commendations will be for Lieutenant Paramedic Michael Butcher, Firefighter Paramedic Michael Koshlap, Firefighter Paramedic Colin Boston, EMT Jeff Kerr from Lee County EMS, Paramedic Adam Ruffer from Lee County EMS as well. If you'd mind, join me at the front of the room, please. His father, please. You don't get out of this one. And his grandma back back there also? Come on up. We get everybody. Congratulations. Quite honestly, I was unsure which baby it was. That's all, sir.
We'll take a couple of minute recess for any of the families or anybody that would like to leave, or some of the active duty guys that want to leave, and then we'll bring it back to order. You're all welcome to stay, but anybody that would like to vacate can do so now.
This was a kid. So somebody holding a baby for somebody? My mother was 20 when she had her. I know. I was 22 when I had mine. My wife was 20. Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. Commissioner's business. Start with Commissioner Machuro this evening.
Thank you, Chairman. I just have one thing. I spoke to the chief, and I'd like him to explain, please, the reason we have replaced our computers. Can you tell me what was the need there, the reason we replaced them, and how that works, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Maturo had asked me this question, so as usual, I did some investigation on what our computer situation here at the district is. And the assistant chief actually wrote a report up, which I'll deliver. The district has a total of 61 desktops. All desktops are monitored and backed up nightly to our file servers, which are also housed here at Station 24. Within our server room, we have 3 main servers. One's for data, reports, plan review, and backups. One is our email server, and the last one is for finance and human resources. Every one of the stations has high-speed internet as well that connects all the data back here to our Station 24. As a brief overview, the desktops are used for everyday business. The suppression staff uses desktops to complete medical reports, fire reports, training logs, daily timesheets, along with requesting any scheduled leave. They do online web-based classes or computer-based classes which may be assigned. And the remainder of the staff uses their desktops for their specific jobs, from payroll, budgets, updating protocols, to writing reports similar to this one. The district also has mobile computers. These are called mobile data computers, or MDCs. They're not a standard laptop, or or just a standard laptop. Every apparatus has an MDC, a total of 20. This is how the apparatus are tracked, so we can utilize our closest unit response concept. They're also used to communicate with Lee Control that we are en route to an incident, or when we arrive on scene of a call. Instead of speaking on the radio, we use the computers for that. The third one, and most important, that the MDCs are used for is mapping, which are directions to the emergency call. Other laptops are assigned to various divisions. Every inspector has one, so they can complete their inspections in the field, which is required of them instead of using paper. While the training division has one to use for PowerPoints or in the field or out of the station. Administration also uses one for our audio recording of board meetings. As far as our IT division, we use an outside company for our IT issues. That's CRS, is who we outsource with. They are the ones who maintain our entire system. They're also the company who recommended how often we change out our hardware, our desktops, our servers, and our Wi-Fi. So we buy all of our equipment factory direct. So what that means is that CRS has nothing to do with the sales, regardless of what their recommendations are. So they recommend that the desktops be replaced every 3 to 4 years and servers every 5 to 6 years. This is based on a few things. One being that the units are no longer available for warranty. The other being that software advances are so that the hardware that run them, if not, there's incompatibility issues, which could lead to more money and spending time trying to find a workaround to make it work. So the total number of desktops we have are 61. Of those 61, 41 of them are 3 years or older. So when we talk about the replacement every 3 years, I have a list of every single computer, active computer that we have in the district, and I'll give you a copy if you would like one. That does not mean that we replace every computer in the district every 3 years. What that means is we evaluate the computers every 3 years and see which ones need to be replaced. We've had computers last 8 years, 5 years, 4 years, 6 years, several, more than half of them. As you can see, if you want to further investigate, I can show you which ones we have not replaced every 3 years. So basically, when we start noticing an issue with our laptops, that's when we determine that they need to be replaced, and no sooner. We don't wholesalely go out and replace our computers or our servers unless we start to see that there's a problem with them.
And would you say that the replacement of these computers is imperative to the proper functioning of the district?
Everything we do is computer-based, basically. I mean,
So
from our trucks.
Without proper functioning computers, we don't function as a district?
We don't. We've moved away from paper. Now we say back in the years when I'd pull run cards written on an index card, everything's computerized. Our truck checkout sheets are all computerized. Our leave slips are now computerized. Our staffing is soon to be computerized. So essentially, that is the core function of our administrative business and how we track everything.
Okay, and just echo what you just said, they're replaced when they're down and they need to be replaced, or they're lagging and they're not up to speed, because we all know how technology changes basically weekly. So to get the best product, we replace them if they're not functioning properly.
Yeah, and it's very similar to what we do with our trucks. For example, some computers that they don't need to be working in the capacity that, say, my computer or the Lisa's computer need to be, so we'll set it off and use it for a more mundane function such as inventory, or such as one of the backup computers in an emergency, or a computer that we don't utilize as often. So we don't just automatically dispose of the computers every 3 years. We look for another function that we may be able to utilize it without having to buy a new computer.
Okay. Yeah, and thank you for taking the time to do that, because we just wanted to make sure we weren't spending unnecessarily, but the flip side of that is we want to make sure you have what you need to have this district function properly.
Yes, sir.
We don't want anyone to have bad service because we didn't get the right computers or what you need to maintain the day-to-day service.
And generally speaking, so the board understands, this is Assistant Chief DeWitt presented me with this report along with Lisa. They worked hard to try to figure out where everything is, so,
Lisa did most of the work, right?
yes.
I thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Assistant Chief.
Commissioner Fitzgerald?
I just have a question. I sent an email to the chief and Lisa about trips to the manufacturer, our apparatus manufacturer.
Yes, sir.
We were having members of the Board of Commissioners going out there.
Yes, sir.
I didn't have any history of it. I don't know how I learned of it, but as far as I know, there was no discussion about who went or when you went, and then I decided to ask, what was the history of this? How long have we been doing this? And how much money do we spend doing this? And who went? I didn't get a reply, by the way.
That was my mistake if you did not get a reply. However, all of our trips basically, essentially, to the manufacturing plant is covered by the manufacturer. For example, they'll allot, 3 to 4 spaces. They'll pay for the plane ticket, pay for lodging, and they pay for us to go inspect the vehicle. Typically, since as long as I can remember, we've always had a commissioner representative or two, generally paid for by the manufacturing company. I would have to research it to see if there was any time that we actually paid for it. But most of the time, the first one, we have our mechanic go, as well as a representative like me or the assistant chief, as well as a member of the board or two, depending, who want to see, representing the taxpayers to see what we're paying for. And then the second one is basically the same. The second trip for a truck is essentially the same. On that one, I normally go on to give a final review of the truck before it gets delivered, as well as to maintain some continuity. We typically will have the same people go, aside from 1 or 2 personnel, so we have a continuity of review of the truck.
The decision on who goes is up to you.
Typically, the board members would
Oh,
normally say
yeah.
and have said, I want to go, I would not like to go.
Yeah. I had no knowledge of any trips since I've been here, anyway. And that was my question. Why don't I have any knowledge of it? Not that I want to go, because I don't want to go. But, and I didn't know the manufacturer was paying for it, and I'm glad to hear he is. And I'm not against even us paying for it if there's, we want to send a commissioner out and inspect or do whatever he wants to do out there. But I think all the commissioners should know what's going on. And that was the only reason I asked for the information.
Yes, sir.
I'm not criticizing the operation. I think there's value in that, and you make that judgment, and the commissioners make that judgment. But I think we all should know it, that's all. And that's satisfactory.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Casilla?
I just want to thank all involved for the 9/11 memorial. It was somber and it was well done. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Murphy?
No business at this time.
My only comment about the 9/11 ceremony is my deepest apologies. My wife had cataract surgery that day at 2 o'clock. It was supposed to be at 20 to 2 in the afternoon, and we never got called back and never even got out of there and back into Bonita till 7 o'clock that evening. So that is why I committed to being there and wasn't. It was a medical emergency of my wife's, and my regrets for not being there. Old business. Does anybody have, I'm not going to call everybody individually. If anybody has any old business? Okay. All right, new business. We need a motion to dispose of, the disposal of assets report.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Change order number 10, the demo driveway concrete. Need a motion to accept that.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Station 23, payment application number 6. Motion.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
I'll second
Or
that
second,
motion.
sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
The separation agreement?
Yes, if I may, sir.
Yes, please.
That is not an issue at this point. We were unsure if that was going to come up
Right,
at
I
this
didn't
meeting.
think it was, but it
Yes,
was
sir.
on there. I just wanted to, because it was on, I wanted to bring
Yes, sir.
it forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's moved to a later date.
Yes, sir.
We need the approval for the Motorola purchase.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we want to do the Four Seasons Lawn Care in 2 separate motions, or do we want to do that under one? One is only a contingency if we have a storm, and the other one is the management contract. I see no reason why we can't put that all under one.
Yes, sir.
One motion, okay. Need the approval of the landscape management contract and the approval of the storm cleanup contract.
I make the motion that we approve that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to make a comment on that.
Okay.
I looked at the landscape management contract in particular, and I think it's an outstanding job. Whoever put that together did their homework, did it well, and it's a good contract.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, we move on to Chief Daigle's report.
Yes, I just have a couple of items. One is if you've been out to Station 1, we have the park in motion now. It looks pretty good. They laid the grass down. We have to move some trees, and they did lay the walkways down. So it's ready to go, pretty much. We just got to make a couple adjustments that Deputy Chief Madden is making before the project is complete. And it should be ready to go. And I think there's some extra work that still needs to be done to it, but we're just still evaluating that. And of course, we'll bring it to the board before we do that.
Well, for the record, it would be nice too, for the next 9/11, that we actually move the monument to that site, if that's
Yes, sir.
possible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
The second item, I just wanted to thank the staff here, administrative staff, as well as the executive officers for, they've done a fantastic job in putting all this information together for the district and for me to present. I just wanted to recognize them because they work very hard at it, and I greatly appreciate it. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Assistant Chief DeWitt?
I have nothing tonight, sir.
And Deputy Chief Scott is not here, and we have Deputy Chief Madden's report. Alex Grant, public comment.
Number one, I wound up with 2 books, Chicago Fire Patrol, and I thought you might, since I don't need 2 books, I'm going to give you 1 to put in your library.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's one. The second thing
You didn't see me.
is, from what I understand, reading the old audits from 2003 through 2014, that when it's for the pension number 2, that's the suppression firefighters pension, there was always, the auditor put statement that read, the annual, quote, "The annual member benefit shall not exceed X amount of dollars." And that in 2003 was $160,000, and it was $160,000 the following year, the year after that, the year after that, and the year after that, and even in 2008, but in 2009. In 2010, under Ashley Brown, that was the auditor, and I believe was the present auditor at that time, the maximum annual member benefit, quote, "shall not exceed $195,000. And that was for 2010, 2011. In 2012, the Ashley Brown audit said the pension benefit, again, the maximum, quoting, "the maximum annual member benefit shall not exceed $200,000, was the same for 2013. In 2014, Ashley Brown reported, quote, "the maximum annual member benefit shall not exceed $213," and there was no mention of that in the 2015, 2016, 2017 audits, that I could see. But as I understand from Lisa, what was it, in 2017 or so, it went up to 215,000. I get a nod in the head. Okay. All right. Now, so I was looking, and I said to myself, I wonder why that is. And then I asked, I have a customer who was a fire commissioner back, I think in 2007, 2008. I do his place every once in a while. Okay. And I had just asked him what was the first fire chief, paid fire chief's pension when he went out, and it was $137,000. Oh, so, okay. And so, it's, if you do the 3%, I figured out that in the year 2024, when he'll be 70, it's 226, 470 would be his final pension, and that'll be, like for life, etc.
Do you want to wrap this up? Do you have a?
I'll
an
wrap
end
it
statement?
up right fast. And I'm just concerned that what happens with the pension, now this guy gets 220, 219, let's say 220 grand, okay. And then the other individuals back in 2000, that retired, they will be getting, let's say in the year, 2025, at least $110,000 or so. And just thought I'd mention that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner, could I have 1 second for good and welfare, not this, before you dismiss this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Since we have such a small audience, I just want to say a couple of things. One, today is my anniversary, by the way, October 8th, 1985, I retired from the fire department, 33 years ago. I was 30 years old at that time. And the second thing I want to say is, I read in the newspaper that there was a cancer support group, and the mayor was willing to go in and shave his head in support of the cancer victims. I thought that was great, and I'm going to thank Chief Malden for doing the same thing. Well, I can't even get the name right. Okay. That was all. Thanks for the extra time.
Sure.
Commissioner.
Take a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thanks for coming. Good evening.